Well, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, be sure and subscribe. I would encourage everyone to like and leave a comment down below. Both of those things help me grow the channel. So my bike broke down. My Indian motorcycle, my Indian Roadmaster, left me stranded. And actually it left me stranded in a kind of a humorous place. So stay tuned and I'll tell you what went wrong and the location of my breakdown. So a buddy of mine reached out to me. No, by the way, I did move from Texas to North Carolina about 8 months ago, and quickly made some biker friends. I've got Indian riding motorcycle friends. I've got Harley riding motorcycle friends. So one day, one of my buddies reached out to me about a ride, and well, before I go there, I want to know how many miles did you have on your motorcycle before you actually had a mechanical breakdown? I'm not talking about oil changes, brake pads. I'm talking about an actual breakdown that required a repair. I made it to almost 62,000 miles. I was hoping to get to 100,000 miles before I had a breakdown, but I was just shy under 62,000. Matter of fact, the day it happened, I would have, easily broke 62,000. But so I was saying earlier, one of my biker buddies, he's a Harley rider. He reached out and said, "Hey, you want to ride this afternoon?" And I said, "Absolutely." And I said, "Where do you want to meet?" And he said, "How about Raging Bull Harley Davidson in Durham, North Carolina?" So that sounds great. I've been there many times. As a matter of fact, the end of last year, I almost purchased a motorcycle there. I almost traded my Indian for a Harley there at the end of the year. So I know the sales staff. I've shot some videos there for my YouTube channel. I have a video where I'm test driving the brand new 2024 Road Glide and Street Glide, and that video has a lot of views. You can check out my thoughts on those two bikes. But just said, "Yeah, I'll meet you at Raging Bull." So I get there, go inside, find my buddy, speak to the salesperson I know, and we were ready to leave. I go out there and get on my bike, hit the start button. All I get is one little click coming from the solenoid. I thought, okay, I've had some cold mornings where I had this issue, and I put my battery on the charger, and when it warmed up, it would kick off and crank. So I thought, okay, I'm going to have to break down and buy a battery. My battery wasn't but maybe a year and a half old, but it does get a lot colder here in North Carolina than it does back in southeast Texas. And my motorcycle sits in a carport instead of a garage. It's okay, I need a battery, but there was a problem. I don't have any tools with me. So I go to the parts department and I say, there's probably a good chance you have a battery that'll fit on my motorcycle. I said, but I don't have any tools. I can't take my seat off and take out my battery. And they said, "Oh, no problem. Just go around to the service department. They'd let me borrow some tools." And they did offer me some tools, but my bike is metric. Harley Davidsons are not. Some of the tools worked. Some of them didn't. I went back to the parts department. Between the parts department and the service department, they scrounged up enough tools to where I could get my seat off and get my battery out. And they had a battery that would fit, same size. I dropped the battery in. Before I put the seat and the trunk back on, I crank it, fires right up. I said, okay, I'm good to go. Finished putting my seat on, put my trunk on, take my tools back to the service department and the parts department, go back out to leave, hit the start button. All I get's one little click at the solenoid. I thought, oh gee, great. My Indian motorcycle is broke down at the local Harley Davidson dealership. So I go inside and I tell him, hey, my buddy's going to run home and get his car and come back, or his truck, take me home so I can get my truck and trailer, I said, my motorcycle is broke down, it won't crank. Of course, they offered to take it off my hands, you know, for a trade-in. I said, I don't want to try to trade a motorcycle that won't crank. They said, well, if I needed them to, they could push my bike around back. If it was going to be after closing when I got back, they would do that. And I said, no, my buddy went to get his truck. I don't live far from here. I'll be back before you close. And so we did. My buddy took me home, got my truck, got my trailer. My friend followed me back to Raging Bull Harley-Davidson, which they were great, parts, service, sales. And my friend helped me push my bike up on the trailer, and I towed it home. Because the Indian dealerships by then had already closed. The two closest to me, one is in High Point, North Carolina. The other one is in Raleigh. The one in Raleigh is actually closer, but that clicking noise coming from the solenoid, I thought, I bet that's what it is. So I went online to look, and the High Point dealership had the solenoid in stock. First thing Tuesday morning, I'm there at the dealership with my bike on the trailer, and of course I leave it with them. They called me later that day and say, we've got good news. Because I'm thinking solenoid, maybe starter. Said it wasn't my solenoid, it was not my starter. They said it was just simply a loose connection at the starter. Yes, motorcycles vibrate, things can vibrate loose, not just on Harley-Davidsons, but any brand. I got home one time on a Honda and realized my license plate was gone. The bolts had vibrated loose, and I lost my license plate. So I was thrilled it was something minor. So again, I want to know, how many miles did you have when you had your first real mechanical issue, even if it was under warranty? Because this was really my first actual mechanical issue. Now, my first year, I did have an issue with my saddlebag docking hardware. I'll never know if that was owner error or poor design, because I no longer have the quick release docking hardware on my bike. My saddlebags are now bolted on, because I don't want to have another saddlebag fall off going down the freeway. Yeah, that was no fun. But so I did have a minor repair. You know, it could have been much worse. Certainly the starter would not have been cheap. Could have been some other electrical issue, which sometimes can be a chore to find. So I'm pleased that that is the only mechanical issue. The whole time it was under warranty, no problems. Matter of fact, up till then, no problem at all. It's cranking every time, so I'm happy to be back on the road. So I really enjoy my Indian. I love my Indian. If you've seen my Harley reviews, you know I also have Harley-Davidson Fever. I love both brands. And if I could make it fit my budget and my garage or carport, I would have both. But that's just not practical for me at this time. So you'll have to stay tuned to the channel, see if I actually make the trade back to Harley-Davidson. Because again, I love both brands. Each one have their strengths and their weaknesses. Neither one are perfect, but they both make great motorcycles. So again, I want to know, what kind of mechanical issues did you have? Was it costly, or was it a minor repair? The only other motorcycle I had that I put this kind of miles on was a Harley-Davidson Road Glide, the old 88 twin cam. I had 40-something thousand miles on it when the cam chain tensioner failed, and the little plastic pieces came all apart, went all down in the oil pump, and it was a costly repair. So at least this was extremely affordable. I mean, they did charge me a little nominal fee at the dealership for diagnostics and of course for tightening the connection, but I came out really good. So if you like to ride, as I often say, ride as often as you can, because those years fly by, and one day we're all gonna be too old to ride.